the OTP presented by Farm Bureau Health Plans. When it's game day for your health coverage, trust Farm Bureau Health Plans to drop a winning play for you. They've been covering Tennesseans for nearly 80 years. Thank you for joining us on the OTP. I'm Amy Wells, and we are joined by new Titans General Manager, Mike Borgonzi. Mike, thank you for taking the time to chat with us.
Thank you, Amy. Yeah, that sounds pretty good.
It does sound good, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Now, it's your very first day here, and you've been moving around doing all kinds of different things early. Has it set in that you're the guy, you're the general manager of an NFL team?
It's starting to. You know, I first got to my office today, and they started to set the computers up, and I kind of got my bearings around the building. It's finally starting to set in, but it's been a whirlwind these last 3 days for me and my family, but very exciting.
As you went through the interview process, what was it about the Titans organization that felt right, that felt like home?
You know, when I left my interview last week, I called my wife on the way home, and I just felt like, I said to Jill, I said, this feels like the right place for me. You know, I met Amy, you know, so it's great. It checked all the boxes for me. It's great ownership. It's a great fan base. There's great people in this building, and it's Nashville. And I think that was a big priority for me. If I was ever going to leave Kansas City, a place that I love and my family loves, it has to be the right fit for them. And, you know, I've heard so many great things about Nashville, and, you know, I just can't wait to get here with the entire family and get into the community.
Chad Brinker said that you literally thought of every aspect of becoming a general manager. So my question is, how long have you been thinking about this and preparing for this opportunity?
You know, I think for a long time. The way I came up in the business, I hit every step along the way. So I would always document the things that I did, whether that's college scouting, pro scouting. I worked in operations. And then as I started to move up in leadership roles, so I'd probably say about 5-6 years ago, I really started to put things together into like a book and to formulate all my ideas. So it's been an ongoing process, but I think the way I came up in the business, it was very easy for me to put it together.
Another person who documents a lot of things is Brian Callahan. When you guys were able to interact throughout the interview process, what was it about him and his style that really resonated with you? You
know, I think I hit it right off with Brian right away. I've known him for a long time. You know, he worked in Denver when I was with Kansas City, so we had a lot of battles there. And then, of course, he went to Cincinnati and with Joe Burrow, and we had a lot of battles there. They actually probably won more than we did against them. But I just always had the respect for him from afar. You know, the type of offense that he implements. The things I heard about how he communicates with players and treats players were all appealing to me, and we've had great conversations so far.
This is a relatively young staff from a experience in their current position standpoint. Mm-hmm. Chad Brinker is relatively new to his role. Coach Callahan, obviously, in his second year as head coach, and you in your first year as general manager. Is that something that's really appealing to you because you guys are going to be able to build this thing together?
Absolutely, and that was really appealing to me. You know, the fact that I've known Chad for 15 years. We had similar paths coming up in the business, and the same thing with Brian, too. So now it's an opportunity. We've kind of hit every step. We're ready for that next opportunity. And now we have 3 people that really want to do it together. And I just couldn't be more excited for the opportunity to do that.
That's a lot of experience within the National Football League to pull from.
Yeah.
So tell me about your experience as a fullback. You played fullback at Brown University. Yeah. Do you remember having a time when you were in college thinking, man, football is going to be my career for a long time? Was that ever a thought for you?
It was, you know, and I thought I was trying to play after college. I had that dream of playing in the NFL. I had some tryouts, some workouts. I was never signed. But yeah, I mean, football's been my entire life since I was 7 years old. I grew up in a crazy football town. You know, every day we woke up, we thought about football. Like, my whole household was a crazy football. My brother's a coach in the NFL. So it was just kind of in our blood that, yeah, that's what I wanted to do. And, you know, I didn't know I was going to get to this step, but I knew I was going to be involved in football somehow.
You spent a little bit of time in college working in recruiting and in that space. Was that a natural springboard to personnel work in the NFL?
It was, because that was my first experience really as a team builder, evaluating high school players to try to build up the roster at Boston College when I was there. And I had the opportunity when I was there, I was the liaison with the team, so I would talk to a lot of the scouts that would come through the building. So I wanted to do it at the highest level, and I was fortunate enough to get a job a couple of years later in Kansas City.
Now, when you started at Kansas City, this was 16 seasons ago.
Yeah.
It was not the team that we know today, one that's on their way to their, 7th AFC Championship game. What did you learn through the experience of having to really build a team?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't all like you're talking about, 7 straight AFC Championship games. We had the first pick in the draft at one point in 2013. We were 2-14. We weren't a very good football team. So the experience for me, and we kind of built it from the ground up, is that you need to have the right people in the building to do it, the right processes, and then the right type of player too. It's not just, we always say we're trying to build the right 53. It's the talent, of course, but it's also the character piece too. So those are the things I learned along the way. To build a winning culture, you need talent plus character. And that was a big lesson for me as I learned, and we kind of built that through the draft. We were in Kansas City, and of course we had free agents as well, but the majority of it, we built that culture through the draft off of some of the things that we wanted to see in players, not only talent, but the character piece.
What's harder to learn how to evaluate, talent or character?
We always say, character is human behavior is the most difficult thing to predict. So it's definitely the character part. So, we send our scouts into schools, and they're constantly talking to their sources and getting background information on them, and then we have a chance to meet with them at the All-Star games, and then we do our own homework for coaches that have coached them in college. But it's certainly difficult, but that's such an important piece of it when you're trying to build a team.
Whether you're buying or selling tickets to a Titans game or any live event in Nashville, SeatGeek is the place to do it. SeatGeek, the official ticketing partner of the Tennessee Titans, so Titans fans can fan. Home is the forefront of all we do. It's why we're so committed to caring for the places and spaces in which we work and live. Ashley, the official furniture provider of the Tennessee Titans. Little Caesars is the official pizza partner of your Tennessee Titans. Download the Little Caesars app and get your favorites delivered today. Delivery fees apply. Now, back to the OTP. You mentioned earlier that you've worked in every single step of being in personnel. You've really worked your way up one step at a time. So does that put you in a really good position to hit the ground running now and really just get started here in Tennessee?
I think so, because I've gone through every process, so I know how it works. So, any person at any level in the organization can come to me in the personnel department, and I would like to think I have the answer for them. Just hitting every step in pro and college, and then I also did operations for a year where I communicated with a lot of different departments. So, I think that's really, benefited me for the position I'm in now.
You've spent a lot of time working with Kansas City current general manager Brent Veach.
Yeah.
How is he going to influence the way that you approach this role?
Yeah, so Brett and I have been friends for a long time. He is relentless on trying to improve the roster. So those are the things that, I would get text messages at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning about a guy that might be, we need a workout. So like those type of things, like just it's all year round trying to upgrade the roster and fix it however you can through the draft, free agency. It might be trades, it might be waiver claims. So that's had a big influence on me.
We've heard the philosophy over and over again, draft, develop, retain.
Yeah.
What exactly does that mean, and why is that so fundamental to building a successful team?
Well, when I talked about culture, that's a big part of it. When you're drafting players and then you're developing them into your system, you want to build a foundation of homegrown talent on the roster. And we were able to do that in Kansas City. So at one point, there was a standard there. So anytime we brought in a new rookie class or a free agent, there's a certain way to practice. There's a certain way to treat people. And then also helps out down the road with salary cap flexibility too as well, because you have to be cognizant of that. So drafting every year is an important part of that.
When you walk into the room, what people see because of your resume is the Kansas City Chiefs and Super Bowls. Is that a big weight to bear walking into a new role?
I don't think so. I view this as a new challenge. You know, this isn't Kansas City anymore. We're completely different. We don't have the same players. And I was there before when we didn't have those players. You know, I don't think there's any more pressure on me to do that. I mean, there's always pressure to win in this league and to get it fixed. But I see this as a new opportunity, a new challenge that I'm ready to dive into.
You've talked a lot about culture and developing culture. Is that the key to building not just success, but sustained success?
Yes, I definitely do. Because it's the daily habits of everybody in the building, from the personnel to the coaching to the players. Like when we were in Kansas City, there was a certain way to do things, and everybody knew that. And everybody lived up to that standard, or you wouldn't be there anymore. It was as simple as that. But yeah, no, culture is everything.
The Titans have the #1 pick in the NFL draft. Mm-hmm. The Titans have a fair amount of cap room right now. Is that a lot of exciting opportunity to have all at once?
Yeah, it is, and we're diving right into it this week. We're going to be down at the East-West in the Senior Bowl, and then we'll have a chance to evaluate the draft class and free agency. So, yeah, no, it's an exciting opportunity. I was there before. We had the #1 pick, and it was exciting. So it definitely is, yeah.
Hey Titans fans, with a Kroger Boost membership, you'll score big with double fuel points, free delivery, and lots more. Go to Kroger.com/boost for details. Kroger, the official grocer of the Tennessee Titans. Tighten up. The OTP, presented by Farm Bureau Health Plans. When it's game day for your health coverage, trust Farm Bureau Health Plans to draw up a winning play for you. They've been covering Tennesseans for nearly 80 years. Now, back to the OTP. Now that you're here in Nashville, before you go to the All-Star games and start that whirlwind, what's the first step here?
To get to know everybody in the building, and I've started that process today, but to me that's the most important part, is to start really building relationships with everyone in the building. So that's priority #1 for me.
Mike Borgonzi, welcome to Tennessee. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you, Amy. It's great to be here.
For Mike Borgonzi, I'm Amy Wells, and this is the OTP.